question. Basically, as we all know, the Securities Commission, the sole regulatory body of the unit trust industry, has quite a number of regulatory functions. Yeah, but ultimately, the main responsibility or the ultimate aim of the SC is to protect investors' interests. Yeah? That is the ultimate aim of the Securities Commission. So on that score, basically they have issued a number of guidelines. For example, the guidelines on sales practices for unlisted capital market products, which came into effect in March this year. Yeah? So basically, the regulator would want to see the investing public are well informed about the products on offer before investing. Yeah? In terms of the product features, the expected returns, taking into account the prevalent risks in the product, and so on and so forth. So the keywords here are well informed. Yeah? Well informed, so that investors will be able to, there will be some investors empowerment. Investors are empowered to make investment decisions. And that goes in line with our topic of discussion this morning, towards market integrity and investors empowerment. So what does it mean? As the topic suggests, investors empowerment comes after market integrity. So it means that before we can provide that kind of investors empowerment, the players in the industry, be it the product originator as well as the product distributor, has played their role. So meaning they have practiced a lot of ethics and governance before we can see our investors can empower themselves to make investment decisions. Yeah? So it cannot be said that basically we cannot have a knowledgeable investors in the market if the players themselves are cowboys. It won't happen that way. So it's very important for the players in the industry to be as professional as possible in order to empower investors to make decisions. Talking about the guidelines on sales practices for unlisted capital market product, amongst other things, the main or prevalent requirements, as highlighted by Mr. Eugene this morning in his keynote address, is in terms of the suitability assessment. The requirements, amongst others, are: one, is for the product issuer or product distributor to conduct suitability assessment to ensure the investors are well informed about the products, and the distributors have done their work in ensuring that their risk profiles matches with investors, with the product. Secondly, in terms of the requirement to issue or to provide product highlight sheet to investors or PHS. So in that sense, basically, yeah, we all know, and the regulator is also aware that thick prospectus would put investors off to read it. So with the PHS, it doesn't take much of investors' time to actually glance through some of the pertinent information in the PHS, so that informed decision can be made by investors. Having said that, in terms of the implication for my organization, for example, in terms of the requirement, the new requirement insofar as the suitability assessment is concerned. Of course, at the initial stage, there is some resistance due to the so-called onerous requirement. But I'm sure over time, this would be a good practice, and will be that will become norms and will be embedded in each of the consultant's mind. So apart from the amendment to the Securities to the Capital Markets and Services Act, as well as the guidelines issued insofar as ethics and governance are concerned, the SC has also issued Code on Corporate Governance 2007. So it is the first deliverable under the Corporate Governance Blueprint, mooted in 2011. So basically it highlights the basic principles and specific recommendations insofar as corporate governance are concerned. So in our case, although it is we are not bound by the specific provision of the code, our board is cognizant that we should take the spirit of the code, because the code basically put emphasis on listed companies. Yeah? So one of the recommendations, for example, recommendation 3.2 of the code dictates that independent directors should not be on the board for a cumulative of 9 years, more than 9 years. So in our case, we have one independent director who has served on the board for more than 9 years. So taking the cue from the spirit of the code, he voluntarily resigned from the board. So basically, yeah, the definition or the rationale for that code, as mentioned in the Code of Corporate Governance, basically for long-term tenure, it can impair independence. So basically, it might be true, because if you are too engrossed in a particular company, you tend to be part of the company, and hence your independent judgment may not be so objective anymore. Yeah? I think that's about it for a moment.
I think it's interesting where you cover the, talking about, investor empowerment. Obviously, investor empowerment, before even moving into that stage, there must be information, knowledge for them to understand, by looking at the current investment industry, communication is crucial, from the investment specialists like all of you, to the retail investor. I think in this case, I want to refer to retail investors. One of the teething problems that I've seen in the past, when I first head up the investment product structuring, I look at the prospectus, my goodness, during that time, I look at it and say, I'm not too sure the retail investor can understand it. It's more like a legal document than anything else. What do you think? What do you think, how do we actually communicate efficiently and really passing that knowledge to the investors? So there will be a lot of, there will be greater empowerment.
You are absolutely right, Paul. So basically, the SC as a regulator has moved into a right direction in requiring a product highlight sheet to be issued in addition to the prospectus, which has been a requirement since day one. Yeah. So with the requirement to have certain information disclosed in the PHS, especially on the pertinent issues of the fund concerned, I think that would give investors some kind of effort, because it's not that thick. The suggestion is that as enshrined in the guidelines itself, it should not be more than 6 pages. Yeah, so you can see the key data section, the most pertinent ones in terms of the fees, the risks that prevalent in the fund and all that. So we are quite sure that investors will not be put off to read that kind of document instead of the prospectus itself. So the SC has moved into the right direction. I also feel that the product highlight sheet would encourage more people to really understand before they start investing.
I think real life, real example, yeah. A lot of times, investment products being so, yeah, this product has, performed this way, and has been doing well for the past 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. At the end of the day, when referring to risk, please refer the prospectus. What do you think about this? I'm opening to the floor of speakers. How do we actually address this? And on top of that, by looking at the prospectus, the risk, the way they explain it is pretty much extracting it from Investopedia or somewhere around all this definition.
Okay, I will respond to that. Number one is, as an industry participant, I know that SC has a very simple message to all the manufacturers, i.e. the prospectus, make sure you make it as simple as possible, as comprehensive as possible. After your product people have written up your prospectus, please give it to your operation people have a look to see whether they understand what you want to print out and go across to the investors. I think that is very, very important. Important in the sense that, yes, we may not, every prospectus, give it to the operation people have a look, all right? Because time is essence. But the message is, we must make the prospectus as simple as possible, all right? Now, one way is, in our organization, is that we know our investors, we know our partners, all right? Meaning, if our investors, our partners are simple-minded investors, that means they are not sophisticated, we don't go and do sophisticated product to them. We don't go and do complex product to them, all right? Because I think in the world of investors, there are a few categories. As mentioned earlier, we have accredited investors, we are high net worth investors, we are retail investors, all right? And I think that different products are suitable for different categories of investors. Now, the other point is, of course, I think as Nasaruddin has mentioned, we have product highlight sheets, we have suitable assessment form to assess the investors. I think these are very, very important. Although I know that we know that there are a lot of complaints from industry players like all of you here, that too many forms to fill in, all right? But we also must understand from a point of view of regulating the industry that because all these forms are required because of the experience from the Asian financial crisis, from a global financial crisis, all right? I think Mr. Eugene has mentioned just now what are those so-called instances of so-called mis-selling by international investment fund houses even, all right? I think that is very important for us to learn. And we are very proud in Malaysia, we have not yet or none at all scandals coming in. I think that is very important, all right? Yeah, we have small problems, small complaints, all right? Be sure we want to resolve it because there is disciplinary committee or rules committee in the FIMM to resolve all these things, all right? But I think so far we behave so good, all right? I think we should continue with that. I think that's important. And of course, not only we should continue with that, we should emphasize again, time and again, education, time and again, to your downlines, to your group, that a disciplined consultant goes a long way.
Thank you, Mr. Ho. Gillian, from your wealth of experience, especially in corporate governance, how do you see all this?
Okay, I like the keynote address when Eugene used that, the Canadians spend more time thinking about which television to buy compared to an investment plan. And if you think about it carefully, why is that so? I mean, besides the fact that a television is more, exciting, I think it's because people just don't understand. When they're looking at an investment plan, they just don't understand. And when they are posed with something that they don't understand, they just leave it to the person who is selling it to them and say, oh, okay, you just make the decision. I'll pay the money. But sometimes when you look back, I think taking a step back, the education is not just to the investors. The education should be also for those who are selling the products. Because many times the people who are selling the products are selling it because there is a target to reach. But they themselves may not know what the products are.
Fantastic. I think it's touching to the heart to a lot of people. To me, I have this experience that when we're going out there and talking to clients, especially when you go and some of the clients say, wow, this is heavy. Okay, let's eat first. After eating, you make the decision. But I think this is still a teething problems to the industry, where a lot of investors, at the end of the day, have a very simple mindset, which is make money for me, don't lose money. Whatever you do, you do it, and then passing the responsibility to the sales profession. Leading to that, in terms of investor educations, what in your organization or your organization, what have you have in place to to make sure investors are well informed? How do you educate them in terms of changing their behavior to be a lot more responsible to their investment than to a television?
Okay, maybe I will just give some of my views on this. I think education is important. I think both training or educating the UTCs in most organizations, including ours, is always on the sales side, product knowledge. All right, that's why some time ago we have changed that a little bit emphasis on the regulations, understanding. When the new UTC come in, I think first of all we must ask them to understand the regulations. I know they passed the exam, the UTC exam, but the UTC exam is very fast. You go to the computer, you do it, you fail, you can do it again, those sort of things. But I think very importantly, we want the UTC to appreciate the regulation, why you must have a suitable assessment, why you must do a product highlight sheet, and why you must give a prospectus to the investors, and what are contained inside. I think this is very key. But most of us actually is products, is sales, all right? You got this program called Reaching the Star, Reaching the Sky, meaning the sales target is higher and higher. I mean, it's good for everybody. Am I right or not? It's good. I'm happy about that. But I think in order to drive the industry more orderly growth, I think all our players here must really appreciate how the industry operates. I think that is very important. So I think we should do this gradual mindset change in order for us to live for another 2,500 years. All right?
Wow, that is a very long time. Leading to some of your comments, I think it'll be interesting to looking at the other side of carrot and stick. Looking at that, it will be interesting to look at some of the most prevalent ethics and disciplinary issues faced by this industry?
Okay, thank you, Paul. So looking at the statistics at the local front, basically, I think the most prevalent issues in terms of disciplinary issues that we face is the misappropriation of clients' monies. In fact, my organization, we have 2 cases actually where the consultants absconded with the clients' monies. So basically, we terminated the agency contract with them, and FIMM has also blacklisted these 2 consultants so that others would not be victimized, and these consultants would not be in our industry at all. So okay, that is on the local front. From the global perspective, I think the most prevalent one is actually the mis-selling. Everybody talks about it, but luckily we do not have that kind of rampant cases in Malaysia. But before that happens, so basically the regulator, the Securities Commission, has taken a right direction in curbing that from happening in Malaysia by virtue of the guidelines issued recently in terms of the requirement to have a suitability assessment. So in my view, the suitability assessment required by the SC has got 2 prongs. One is to ensure that there will be no mis-selling, and the second one, I think, is to elevate the level of professionalism amongst our unit trust consultants. So because when they do some kind of research, know your clients questionnaires and all that, it's akin to financial planners kind of practices. So this would actually enhance the level of professionalism amongst unit trust consultants, so that our investors are more confident in getting advice and recommendations from the unit trust consultant. Yeah. Another issue that is quite prevalent in so far as the disciplinary issues is concerned, I think in terms of the unsatisfactory client service. So in unit trust investments, there are sales and redemptions. Often unit trust consultants are more keen on the sales side, but less keen on redemption requests by unit holders. So I think this negative attitude should be put aside if we are talking about long-term relationship between consultants and the unit holders. And another issue, I think, maybe in terms of looking at the statistics, in terms of the shall I recall what is that? In terms of statistics, amongst the prevalent issue would be the issue on the pre-signing of sales application form as well as switching forms. So we got this, we heard this quite rampant in the industry. I hope it has been minimized, especially from EPF sales, where investors want to put their money through EPF funds. So basically, if you are talking about pre-signing of forms, it rounds fall from our topic of discussion this morning towards investors empowerment. So there's no investors empowerment basically if you ask your investors to pre-sign the forms, isn't it? So I think those 3 are most prevalent cases in Malaysia. So we are lucky that we don't have that mis-selling cases. Yeah.
I think you have covered, talking about this topic of enforcement. I think it would be interesting, to get a little bit insight from Gillian in terms of, having a framework comparing, you know, Asia or global, the framework Malaysia comparing to Asia and global in terms of good corporate governance, and as well as enforcement.
That's interesting. There is an organization called the Asian Corporate Governance Association, ACGA, and they conduct a survey every 2 years around Asia. They measure the levels of governance in the countries. And Malaysia has been ranking, if I'm not wrong, between 4 and 5. We've gone up from maybe like 9 before. So we're around 4 and 5. And they seem to report the findings that we are very good in having new regulations, we are very good in coming up with new steps, but we lack in enforcement.
Interesting survey, which leading to my a little bit more sensitive question, which I direct to my panel. Enforcement, especially you know, looking at some of all these disciplinary issues, we still see follow through to be fairly weak. Yes, termination has been done. Beyond termination, what have some of the cases have we gone all the way in making sure we have a proper, long enough, thick stick to really hit on all these bad apples?
Let me respond some of your very good questions. All right, about disciplinary processes, disciplinary action to be taken against industry players. I think this will be the armpit of the FIMM, the association, because we are the one who are looking after the interest and welfare of the players. In the FIMM, we have this disciplinary committee, and the important thing to remember is discipline committee, we are nice people, all right? But on the other hand, why I say nice people, it protects both sides, all sides. It protects the manufacturer, all right? It protects the UTC and also the investors. So discipline goes all the way, all around. Not every time we want to look for the UTC for disciplinary problems, all right? If there's a complaint, I think there's a very transparent process from FIMM, steps, how to go about the hearing, to gathering of facts, to meet up with the complainants, to meet up with the UTC, to meet up with the so-called fund houses, in order to look at the resolution or so-called guilty or not guilty of the complaints. Now, the common one, like last already I pointed out, are those so-called so-called mishandling of clients' money, all right? Unsatisfactory service by the UTCs, all right? And also